Welcome one, welcome all. You are listening to Inconsistency, and I, as always, am your host, Jason Gutierrez. I hope everyone has had a wonderful week. A lot has happened since I made the last show on Friday. Maybe not a lot has happened, but I think a lot has been confirmed or clarified that I talked about on Friday. So right off the bat, I'm going to try to get the sad news out of the way. Last week when I started the show off, I talked about the shooting in Aurora that happened, and I said that I would keep up to date on the details, and I would inform everyone on what came out over the week, as it always happens. I didn't want to jump the gun and open my mouth when I didn't know what happened. And we have more information about the thing, which is what we wanted. Let me bring this down some. Sorry, trying to format this on the fly. There you go. Give it a couple zooms. Bop, bop. That looks better. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm going to just say what I know. And then this is the latest article from the Chicago Tribune that I saw, and I'll read that. Off the top, it turns out that this was just, well, I won't say just, because this is also very terrible. I don't want to minimalize it in any way, shape, or form. This was a case of workplace violence. It seems like this gentleman was fired. I don't know his name. I don't want to know his name. I don't care. Even if I knew his name, I wouldn't be putting it out because I think that the big problem, or one of the big reasons that these things keep happening, and why a lot of times when there are shootings, there are copycat events, is because people want their name out there. People say, if I can't be famous, I'll be infamous. And we are not going to make this man either of these things. This man is just going to be a villain. That's all he's going to be. He's just going to be a nameless villain in what's unfortunately becoming a longer and longer list of villains. But so far, what I know is he was, I think, at a meeting, and he was fired, and he went, got his gun, or he had his gun on him, and then he started opening fire on people, and it's a very tragic situation. Now, this story is crazy, and this is another story that shows that the police are absolutely incompetent, or at least the government is. And I can go up that in a second, but without further ado, let me read the story. Aurora mass shooter, in his own words, I acted out of rage and fear in beating of ex-girlfriend with baseball bat. So already we see that this gentleman, why am I being so polite? We see that this animal, this monster, has a history of violence. So right off the bat, somebody that should not have been allowed to have a gun, and if the law was enforced the way it's written, would not have had a gun. But we'll continue. This is just from the headline. A day after Illinois State Police inquired about the dude, his criminal history in 2014, two court clerks in Mississippi discussed whether to send authorities a chilling psychiatric evaluation in which the future mass killer described himself as an abuser and admitted to anger issues. Quote, I have a problem controlling my temper when I get real upset, Martin told a psychiatrist in 1995, according to court records. Martin, oh well, I'm saying his name, I wasn't trying to. The man, then 22, underwent the court-ordered psychiatric examination. Okay, right there. If you are going out to get a firearm, this is one of the questions that they put on the test, or on the form, I should say. Sorry. My apologies. So this is one of the things that they have on the form is if you have been, I've committed to a psychiatric thing or a court-ordered psychiatric testing or consultation. If you've ever been in a psych ward by force, you are already disqualified from purchasing guns. when you sign, I forgot what the numbers are, but yeah, when you sign the form that everybody has to sign when purchasing a firearm from a licensed firearm dealer. Okay, so sentenced to 5 years in prison for beating his then girlfriend with an aluminum baseball bat and then stabbing her. Flag number 2. Another question on that same form is, have you ever, this is the only misdemeanor that can bar you from purchasing a firearm or for being able to qualify. Yeah, for being able to qualify for purchasing a firearm. This was placed under Bill Clinton. Is domestic assault. Domestic abuse is the only misdemeanor on the books right now that will bar you from owning a firearm. So already 2 flags. This article's just started. 2 flags, 2 reasons why this man should not have owned a gun under the law currently written. And I wanna emphasize this because I know, and I mean it's already happening, especially since I'm in Illinois. The governor is already talking about new laws that he wants to put into place and universal background checks and all these things that, well, already the laws are on the books that would have stopped this from happening, would have stopped this man from owning a weapon. But apparently they failed for some reason. So this seems just like incompetence more than anything else. Okay. So he was released after serving less than 3 years, despite his former girlfriend having objected to his release. The evaluating psychiatrist detailed Martin's violent nature, especially when he felt sad or abandoned. The psychiatrist also raised concerns that Martin could harm his ex-girlfriend again, but he wrote that Martin did not pose a threat to the general public at that time. The report ends with an unsettling passage as the doctor refused to rule out future violence and eerily foreshadowed last week's deadly shooting in Aurora, in which Martin killed 5 co-workers and injured 5 police officers. Mental health professionals are not able to accurately predict remote future dangerousness, the psychiatrist wrote. We are only limited to predict dangerousness over a relatively short term, of a few days to a few weeks. As a rule, we tend to overpredict future dangerousness. I cannot say whether or not Mr. Martin will become violent again in the future. It's unclear whether the clerks sent the evaluation to Illinois State Police, which had requested all records related to his aggravated assault conviction in an email exchange obtained by the Tribune. One clerk asked her co-worker whether Marshall County, Missouri? Apologies. Whether Marshall County, Missouri should share the evaluation with Illinois State Police. She responds by saying she will, quote, take care of it. An ISP spokesman did not immediately comment on the report. However, a day after contacting Mississippi officials, ISP rejected Martin's request for a concealed carry license and revoked his firearm owner identification card because of his criminal history. I'm not aware. They're not telling me. I'm not aware when he got his FOID card, which would allow him to own a firearm. It seems like it was after all of this happened. It seems like if he got a FOID card in the first place, this was already a failure on their part. I mean, he served jail time. I don't understand how he was able to get a FOID card in the first place. Now, this last statement, this last paragraph is important because they are trying to pass legislation now in Illinois that would allow the police to come in to seize people's weapons who have had their FOID cards revoked. Now, I know on paper that sounds like a great idea, and it sounds like it would have stopped this situation from happening. But I have a real fear of giving the police the authority to come into people's homes and confiscate weapons. I understand that it's like in the cases where like, oh, well, his firearms were revoked, or his FOID card was revoked, so he no longer had the right to purchase weapons or own weapons. I understand that, and I understand where you can try to justify that you can try to justify, well, of course we should then take the weapons. I just think we need to be really careful as a country when we think of allowing the police to start coming into people's homes. One, to disarm people, because I don't think, I feel like it's very ominous. I think it would lead to tons of problems. First of all, people don't like it when you come in to take their guns. I mean, there was a case, I forgot where it was. I won't pull it up now. I may put it in the comment, or you can just look it up. That's easier for me. You can look it up. There was a case of a man. He was, they came to take his weapons, and they ended up killing him. And I think it was the wrong person. The police came to his house, murdered him. I think he shot a cop. He shot 2 cops, killed one, and was murdered in the process. And all of this was done while it wasn't even supposed to be done. I think they had the wrong house at the time. So we need to be really careful when we just sick the police on people and give the police the authority to come into people's house without search warrants, because that's, you know, one of your basic rights. That's one of the rights protected by the Constitution. Authorities have said the man's conviction did not appear in 2 background checks previously conducted by Illinois State Police, omissions that allowed him to obtain a FOID card and purchase a gun. After learning of the omission, ISP said it notified both Martin and the Aurora Police Department that he was no longer able to possess the Smith & Wesson .40 caliber handgun that he owned. It appeared that Illinois authorities only found Martin's Mississippi convictions after he agreed to be fingerprinted as a way to expedite the processing of his concealed carry license. Illinois does not require fingerprinting to obtain either a FOID or concealed carry license. See, this is a problem. This just shows the inefficiency of the government itself. They fail at everything they do. I'm not exactly in favor of this I'm not the biggest fan of all these federal systems and all these federal background checks. I know that it's not exactly a good look to say that, but it would be a longer argument that I would have to make at some other point if I want to just go on a straight gun control thing, but this is not that show. But it shows that even when they have systems in place, they always manage to fail. They never manage to do things right. The government always fails. And I think the biggest example of government failure and police failure that nobody talked about enough was the Parkland shooting, because that officer stood there and did nothing while those children got shot. And the crazy thing to me is we all talk about disarming the citizens. Meanwhile, we talk about disarming the citizens, and the pretense they give is, why do you need a gun? We have police that have guns. Well, obviously, the police are more than willing to sit there and let your kids be killed without raising a finger, and then they'll just clean up the mess afterwards. And then they'll just want more authority. It's insanity. And then that sheriff was so disgusting, he went out and he blamed the NRA. Meanwhile, and then afterwards it came out that, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, you had a cop who was on that beat. He was working in that spot. That was his job, to protect those children. And he did nothing. He stood by and nothing happened. And I don't think the audio ever came out where, I mean, it's insanity how you have an officer who's sworn to protect these children, who is there to protect anyone. Any man, any person who has some type of fortitude, even armed or not, cop or not, should have went in running, trying to do whatever they could to protect those kids. And then the one person that they tell us to trust to do so, or the one group that they tell us to trust to do so, failed in the most spectacular way possible, and then just toss the blame on others. And we're still talking about disarming citizens and making people depend on them to keep them safe. It's insanity. But the broader point I'm saying is that anything that the government does, they do poorly. Aurora officials say they have no record of Aurora officials say they have no record of receiving ISP's revocation notice, and even if they did, the department had no legal obligation to confiscate the guns. State law, however, does allow local law enforcement to obtain a search warrant to retrieve a revoked FOID holder's weapons. Okay, right there. That's fine to me. 100% okay. If it comes out that a judge has ordered that you are no longer, if the law says that you are no longer able to own weapons, I believe absolutely that the police, the protocol should be, and obviously is, that you go to a judge, you say, listen, this man is no longer allowed to own firearms. We know that he has this, this, and this, or we know for a fact that he has purchased this, this, and this. May we have a warrant to search his home for these weapons? And the judge will sign it, or not, depending on the case. But in general, I don't see a reason why the judge would not sign it. So there's already a protocol that's put in that is the constitutional, lawful way to do this. This is the system that is in place, and we have that system for a reason. That same system that protects people that own guns protects everybody from just from having any type of privacy in your home. That is stopping the police from just coming into your house searching you randomly. That is one of the few protections, like, of the 10, the Bill of Rights. Literally, when the founders started this country, they said, okay, what are the 10 things, like, what are the rules that we think can never be touched? These are like the most holy rules. I think that's the 4th. Isn't it? I don't know. As much as I talk about it, I don't know them in order. But I know for sure you have the right to not just be searched for no reason. If they can just come into your home and confiscate things, what's wrong with stop and frisk? What's to stop the police from just saying, okay, well, we can come into your car without a warrant. We can check your pockets without a warrant. It's not that far. If you violate the rights of privacy of my home and the sanctity of my home, what's my car? What's my person? No real difference there. That's why all of these checks and balances are put in place. Okay, so it says Martin kept his gun, and 5 years. So 5 years it went, and they did not. They didn't go to a judge and say, hey, we need a warrant for this man. We need a search warrant so that we can take this man's weapons. So 5 years later, he used it in last week's mass shooting, opening fire after learning he was being terminated. He died in a shootout with police officers Friday after a 90-minute standoff inside Henry Pratt Co. warehouse in West Suburban Aurora. Police have not yet released a detailed account of the events leading up to the shooting, but Martin's Mississippi court records from Marshall County show he had long used violence against those who upset him. The documents showed Martin's depression and sadness, but also awareness of his anger. Martin pleaded guilty in 1995 to aggravated assault for beating his girlfriend after she confronted him about verbally abusing her young daughter and asked him to move out. He tried to kill himself after the attack out of remorse for his actions, which the woman's child witnessed. Oh my God, this guy sucked in all ways. This man had no... Jeez, was he a selfish, awful man. Just complete disregard to anyone around him. Just a terrible, terrible man, and it seems like he's had a history of being this man. I was acting out of rage and fear of losing the one I love so much, he told the psychiatrist, according to the 1995 evaluation. The psychiatrist determined that Martin did not have a major mental disorder, though he described himself as depressed. The psychiatrist said those feelings stem largely from his incarceration and understanding of how society views people convicted of domestic violence. I was an abuser. I feel bad about that, he said, according to the 1995 evaluation. The court documents show that those close to Martin also sensed the danger Martin posed. If he is released soon, I am afraid that someone may end up dead, his girlfriend wrote to the court in 1996, 1 year after Martin was sentenced. Not enough flags for you? Every single shooting that happens, there are multiple, countless red flags that just go ignored. Every single shooting, every single mass shooting that you've seen, none of them have you seen where it's like, oh yeah, you know what? Nope, this guy had no history of anything. Nobody thought this guy was weird. Nobody thought this guy was depressed. Nobody thought this guy was either a school shooter or a mass shooter. No, nobody thought this man had history. Not one case. So there's always flags, and it never gets picked up. but all the laws that people try to put in are only going to affect people that aren't like this psychopath. The letter. Okay, so then the woman who Tribune is not naming contacted the court after receiving a letter from Martin. So many dreams and desires, so much love to give, no one to give it to. So now he's going the whole woe is me, I lost my girlfriend, no one loves me, wah wah wah. All right, fuck him, I don't care. All right. Between a woman dated for less than a year. All right, so the family's apologizing. I mean, it's not, well, it's easy to say from here, but we can't blame the families, and it's sad. I'm sure they are very sad, but it's insanity how much it's just insanity how many flags get ignored. Meanwhile, there are all these laws that they're gonna do, all these laws that they're gonna make, and they're proposing are just gonna end up affecting lawful gun owners who would never be violent and would be the ones who, not unlike that cop who in the Parkland shooting did nothing, they would be the ones who in a second would jump in there and put their bodies on the line and put themselves in danger to protect people around them. And there's cases that happen like that all the time, but nobody likes to talk about them. Those are the people, I'll be honest with you, and this is probably a very sick pleasure of mine, and it probably shouldn't be a thing, but it certainly is. Nothing makes me happier personally than a story of a person trying to rob an old lady who gets shot, or a person who tries to, or a person who invades someone's home and gets shot dead. Those stories make me happy because I really believe that I like seeing justice held in that way. Instant justice, I feel like those people should get off with no problems. Those people should be commended. Those people should have a steak dinner bought for them by the sheriff, and everyone should go away. This case is obviously, it goes without saying that this case is tragic, and there's no words that can help or fix or any of this, and it's unfortunate that this had to happen, but I just want the closing statement I'll give on this is I just want people to understand that, one, the government is so ineffective and so bad at what they do that if you consider disarming others, and it's like, look, if you want to disarm yourself, fine, you live your life how you want to, but don't look at people as awful. Don't put yourself in the place to call people murderers and awful people when they aren't the type of person who want to be unarmed. Okay? You can't just be angry at somebody who does not want to be disarmed, who wants to defend themselves. If you want to be out there defenseless and armless, that's your problem. But there are people who don't, and we should not make them monsters for being that. Also, the last thing I'll say is if you do try to propose these weapon bans, and you do try to propose people take these weapons from people, if you sick the police on these gun owners, you are 100% just asking for a civil war. There are a lot of people who that's the line that they've drawn. That's a line that they've drawn in the sand, and they have 100% they will put their life on the line. From my cold dead hands is a thing for a reason, and believe me, there are still people who live by that motto. And unless you really want to see America just go into all-out war, and you really want to see this thing go all-out fight and just complete civil war, I suggest you be very careful of what laws you pass and what you sick on these people. And also, I want you to understand any authority that you give to the government to attack the other can and will eventually be turned on to you. All right? So with that very sad story out of the way, we have the other victim of violence that we saw, Mr. Jussie Smollett. So I actually All right. So actually, last week on Friday, it was not confirmed. I had my suspicions, but it was not yet confirmed that Jussie Smollett had faked this whole thing. Well, it is now 100% confirmed. The Nigerian men who I showed last week were absolutely paid off by him. He paid them each $3,500. There's video evidence of them buying the rope. There's video evidence. They just go to the store. They bought the noose, the masks. They bought everything right there. The evidence is mounted up against him. Everything is confirmed. Jussie Smollett absolutely orchestrated this attack for himself, and he's been arrested. And yeah, so the motive comes out, and the police are saying that he did this because he was dissatisfied with his salary. So what a selfish person, and what a psychopath. Anybody who watched, I showed that interview last week, and if you saw that and you saw how this man is just a pathological liar, this really shows, and I personally think this, but Hollywood is garbage. Just garbage. All these actors, you're garbage. They're the worst people on planet Earth. They're all vapid and empty, and they're all selfish, and they will say whatever they need to get ahead, and all they want is your sympathy. And this man is the worst amongst all of them. Okay, so police say Smollett faked hate crime because he was dissatisfied with his salary. Empire actor said he was victim of a racist anti-gay attack last month. I love how they just completely ignore the fact that he said that they were Trump supporters and all this stuff. They really are trying to back away from that. They have to tell the story to some extent, but they write it in a way to try to give themselves the best out. Actor Jussie Smollett staged an attack to make himself appear the victim of an anti-gay racist assault because he was unhappy with his salary on the television drama Empire, alleged Chicago police who detailed an elaborate but ultimately clumsy plot. Jussie Smollett took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career, Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson said at a news conference Thursday. When we discovered the actual motive, quite frankly, it pissed everybody off. Those are resources and time spent that we will never get back, because obviously in Chicago, there aren't better things that the police have to do. Not like Chicago is, the murder capital of the U.S. The actor turned himself into police at 5 a.m. Thursday, a day after being charged with disorderly conduct for filing a false police report, a felony that carries a penalty of 1 to 3 years in prison and up to a $25,000 fine. He was released after posting $10,000 on his $100,000 bond, the Cook County Sheriff's Office said. So really quickly, I have to say I did watch actually that press conference that the police superintendent gave, and he actually gave a very scathing, well, not a review, but he went after all of the news agencies and all of these celebrities who went out there and before they knew anything were opening their mouths and saying how sad this was. They were just all out there going full out this. We need to stop this. We need to protect actors. Hate crimes are on the rise, and it all came out to be false. And I was actually very happy. Usually I don't have many good things to say about Chicago police, but I will say bravo to that superintendent, because he went after the news agencies and these celebrities, and I believe they deserve every second of that hate, and they deserve a lot of anger, and they have a lot of explaining to do, in my opinion. The actor turned him. Okay, I read that. Jack Pryor, an attorney for Mr. Smollett, said in the court that his client denies allegations. Mr. Smollett's legal team didn't respond to questions after the hearing. Investigators questioned whether Mr. Smollett meant the alleged stunt to go this far. The actor was initially hesitant to report the attack, but Mr. Smollett's creative manager pressed him, police said, citing their interview with his manager. This was supposed to be fed back to Empire to help him with his career and money, Chicago Police Commander Edward Wadnicki said. Some people close to Empire said Mr. Smollett hadn't been asking for a raise and had remained professional on set throughout the investigation. Mr. Smollett made about $100,000 an episode. So yeah, dissatisfactory for sure. You know, I understand why. $100,000, of course. Why wouldn't you go out of your way and pay $7,000 and, you know, try to frame some people, frame a whole segment of the U.S. population when you're making $100,000 an episode? I mean, you know, desperate times call for desperate measures, right? Said someone close to the show, or $1.8 million a year if he appears in all episodes. Yeah, chump change. I mean, the man was practically homeless. Mr. Smollett, 36-year-old, who is black and gay, you're kidding, had claimed attackers late last month hit him in the face, shouted anti-gay and racist epithets, splashed him with an unknown chemical, and put a rope around his neck. The attackers, Mr. Smollett told police, said to him, "This is MAGA country," a reference to Make America Great Again, a slogan popularized by President Trump, a Republican. Thanks for that update. Goodness, what would we do without the Washington Street Journal? Or the Wall Street Journal. Sorry, my fault. I just did a dum-dum. Attorney for Mr. Smollett said Wednesday that they plan to conduct their own investigation and mount a strong defense. Like any other citizen, Mr. Smollett enjoys the presumption of innocence, and the attorneys Todd Pugh and Victor Henderson. Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, they're lawyers. I can't be too mad at them for doing their jobs, but it really is funny when they'll say, "Oh, this person deserves the presumption of innocence." Meanwhile, there are other people that get none of that. Prosecutors said the alleged scheme began with a text message. This idiot, you moron, who appears on Empire, works out with Mr. Yeah, he was his trainer, and sometimes provide him with a drug known as Molly. Might need your help on the low. No, good start. Mr. Smollett, in a series of meetings with his friends and the friend's brother, said he was disappointed a racist letter he claimed to have received a few days earlier hadn't made enough of an impact, so he wanted to engage in the fake attack. Okay, so this letter is hysterical. I don't know if it's confirmed, but he wrote this himself. He sent this to himself. There's no fucking doubt in my mind. I'm not sure if it's confirmed. This one says the FBI now investigating Jussie Smollett for sending hate letter to himself. Look at this idiot. Every part of this story is clumsier and clumsier, and it really shows you that these are the idols that we put on screen. Like, we put these people on pedestals, and I mean, he went out on stage after this attack, and he said that he was the gay Tupac, and that he fought these people back, and everybody was cheering, and people, oh my God, hold on one second. There's evidence, like, let me see. They were on CNN, I believe. Jussie Smollett. All of an icon. It's insane. Look at this. This is how they talk about him. Give me the video. Come on, hit me with some. Are they not gonna? Oh my God, these people suck. Come on, hit me with some. Ba 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 da ba. I'm sorry, this is terrible. Smollett, they really were making this man out to be just the biggest thing. It was. Oh, here we go. All right.
And Van, this strikes at something you and I have been talking about, not on TV, but with each other quite a bit. Finding ways to bring people together. Mm-hmm. This is the opposite. I mean, the superintendent says that. Yeah, it's the opposite. This is the opposite of that.
Look at how this man talks about him.
This is the fall of an icon, and I don't think people understand how important he has been in the black community. Empire as a show.
Yeah.
To have him as a beloved character, I think did a great deal to knock.
He's a moron. Jussie Smollett is a moron. He's stupid. All he is an actor, okay? He's obviously doing Molly. So is that your hero? These are the heroes that we picked now. It's insanity. And everybody has to be this huge everybody needs to be the next Martin Luther King. We're all just waiting for the next Martin Luther King to pop up.
Back homophobia in the black community. The fact that Empire has been celebrated, the fact that he has been celebrated, and you see homophobia in the black community through his eyes on this show. This is a Jackie Robinson against homophobia in the black community. An icon, a beloved icon. And
a Jackie Robinson. He's an actor on a show. Do you really think his life is that hard? He lives in Chicago. He's never been I don't know. I won't say anything about his childhood, but I'll tell you what, since he's been on the show, he hasn't gone through a hardship in his life. In his life, since that he's gone through nothing but good times. I mean, sure, everybody has their own hardships. I'm not going to say that actors don't have depressed lives or anything like that, but this man was never attacked. This man has never had popcorn thrown at him. This man has never been booed by stadiums full of people. This man has never been attacked by stadiums full of people for just trying to do his thing. He's never been the face of something so huge and brave. I mean, Chicago literally has you're acting like, are gay people really attacked now? Yeah? Is that the version of the world that you live in, that gay people are having such a hard time in 2019 America? Is that really your take? That they need a Jackie Robinson? This isn't even close. They don't understand that, and they're trying to make this man such a big thing. They literally just destroy everyone else. Instead of making him bigger or more important, they just belittle every single other icon around him.
Now you have the fall of an icon at a time when we need icons, when we need heroes, when we need people who stand up.
Why?
So the level of betrayal, if this is true,
yes.
If this is true,
so
if
deep,
this is true,
you can see it in your.
Do you remember them doing that when Jussie made this allegation? Were they being all careful about saying if this is true, if this happened, if allegedly? I don't remember this. I remember them treating this as though it 100% happened. I remember articles saying that this shows that lynching is still a prevalent part of American society. That's what I remember. I don't remember them talking about kid gloves and saying that.
Voice. You can see it in your face. It's almost hard to get the words out because of how beloved he has been and how hurt we were when we thought that he had been hurt. And so I want to just say that we still don't know everything. And I don't want to see us rush to judgment on this side, rush to judgment on that side.
Now, wait a second. Don't rush to judgment. No, be sure not to rush to judgment. We need to take more time to wait to see what happens. Everybody deserves a presumption of innocence. Be careful. Wait. We need to take time. We need to be very measured. These scumbag hypocrites. This is exactly the inconsistency that I needed to point out on this show because it drives me up a wall. This man is such a liar. I don't understand how you can look at yourself in the mirror when you're like this. You're on CNN. How can you look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I'm a man. I'm respectable. How can you do this? It's insanity.
Condemn this, condemn that. That's the part of the thing we've been talking about is that we're now in this cycle where everybody's got to have an instant, complete opinion every 15 seconds. Yeah. I don't want to do that. What I do want to
Since when?
say is that whatever he is going through to do what he did has hurt the cause against racism and the cause against homophobia, if it's true. If there is any way that this can be redeemed, I hope it can be, but he owes those same young black gay men that he was addressing in that interview, he owes them not just an apology, but a lifetime of atonement, because this ain't nothing to play with.
He deserves jail time. He deserves to pay for what he's done. He doesn't deserve a second chance. He doesn't deserve to go out there and be like, oh, well, now I'm going to, because I mean, what's he going to do? Be the same guy and just say he's doing it for gay people? What, he's going to pop mollies and go on stage as the Black Tupac again? Is that what he's going to do to atone for his sins?
Ain't nothing to play with. And if he was playing with it, shame on him.
And you get to, this hits on, it's a setback on so many fronts, right? You're talking about this is race, this is homophobia.
Okay, so that was pretty much what I wanted to do. But these are the idols. Oop, I'm spoiling everything. These are the idols that they put out there. What did I do with the initial story? Oh well, it doesn't matter. Okay. I just wanted to say, yeah, this guy's a moron. And the whole thing, he's so stupid. That's the funny part. It's like, if you're gonna be a liar and a phony, all right, fair enough. I mean, you know, it's terrible, but do you, I suppose. But at least be good at what you do. This is the last I'm gonna talk about Jussie Smollett. I don't care about him anymore. I'm glad he's coming out as a false. I'm glad he's coming out as a liar, and I really hope that he goes to jail. I want this man to be locked up for what he has done. He absolutely deserves it. He did this knowingly. They have enough evidence to prove it. He wrote a check to these people. He paid these Nigerian men who attacked him with a check. The man is also a moron on top of it. But this is the letter that Jussie wrote, saying that he was upset didn't have a bigger effect, that didn't get him that raise that he was begging for, I suppose, or didn't give him more airtime on the show. It's for the audio listeners, it literally is just the inside of the letter are letters cut out of a magazine, as though this is some show from the 1970s. And then he wrote in like red. It looks like he wrote in lipstick on the front of the letter. It says MAGA, I think. And it says Jussie Smollett with a backwards L, which he wrote with his left hand. And then it says EMP1445 South Rockwell Street, Chicago, Illinois 60608. Ooh, I hope that address gets checked real fast. Well, no, I'm sure that was the fan mail. The fan mail mailbox, I suppose. And it just says, you will, I'm assuming, die black fag. And then it has a picture of a floating gun with a man and a very poorly drawn tree right next to it. And the poorly drawn tree looks, it looks like a drawing of the girl from The Ring. It's cartoonish. It's a comedy of errors on this man's part. He is stupid. Wow, I'm running close to an hour. I didn't think I would be able to do that on this. All right, so okay, I'm done with this. I'm done with this whole case. Jussie Smollett, you're a liar. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be embarrassed. He's coming out now and saying that he's an addict, or that he has an untreated drug problem, because obviously he's going to try to go I need to go to rehab way, because he does not want to face time for his actions. He does not want to go to jail for what he obviously should go. So he's going to do everything in his power to get off. And I really hope that the police don't let him. I hope that the judge doesn't let him. And I hope that the people don't let him do this. Okay? So, going on from that, because I'm at 40 minutes, I want to keep this at like an hour and a half tops. And I've got way too many stories to do that. But we will run through this quickly. Kamala Harris. She is running for president. And we all know... I don't know if we all know who she is. She was on the Breakfast Club recently. She had a little faux pas saying that she was smoking weed in college, I'm sorry, and that she's listening to Tupac and Snoop and all this, and she's obviously pandering, and she is trying to get herself ingratiated, and she wants to be president for 2020. She's a Democrat. And she was out there as soon as the whole Jussie Smollett thing came out. She was the first to say, this is from January 29th, 2019. At Jussie Smollett is one of the kindest, most gentle human beings I know. I'm praying for his quick recovery. Apparently, he and Kamala Harris are actually pretty close, because there are pictures of them together at like gay pride things and all these I forgot all these events and all of those things. Basically, they were campaigning together. This was an attempted modern-day lynching. Notice she didn't say if true. None of that, huh? This was an attempted modern-day lynching. No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality or color of their skin. We must confront this hate. All right. That tweet didn't age very well now, did it? All right. So, now that everything is coming out, she comes out and she makes this statement. Like most of you, I have seen the reports about Jussie Smollett, and I am sad, frustrated, and disappointed when anyone makes false claims to police. It not only diverts resources away from serious investigations, but it makes it more difficult for other victims of crime to come forward. At the same time, we must speak the truth. Hate crimes are on the rise in America. What? When? How? This is the version of... She needs this to be true. This is why they were so willing to go back there, because they want you scared. Okay, all of these politicians, they want you scared and they want to divide us. It can't be more clear. They for her version of events, she's not happy unless America's full of hate. Apparently that's the case. She is not happy unless we all see the world through the lens of, oh yeah, America's as racist a country as it's ever been. America is basically still slavery. America with 3 Ks. That's the America they see. They being anybody who tries to trumpet all this hate thing. Anybody who went out of their way to believe this Jussie Smollett case when it was obviously ridiculous. All of the people who willingly made themselves believe this to happen. These are the people that view America they view America with 3 Ks, and that is just not the real case. That's not the real world. And if you really see the world in that way, I am very sad for you, and I really want you to just wake up. Ignore all your social media. Go live life. Go out and live life and tell me, really, are you scared when you leave your house that you are going to be a victim of a hate crime? And also, if you want to do a little research, just type in hate crime hoaxes in Google, and you will see countless stories of people perpetrating hate crimes for the same selfish reasons that Mr. Jussie Smollett did, because they want to garner attention and garner sympathy, because there's nothing cooler in 2019 apparently than being a victim. And this mentality has to stop. It is by definition the least empowering thing you could possibly do. To make yourself a victim, to make yourself that small, is taking away every single power that you have. It's taking away, you're taking away your own, not identity. It's like your own responsibility for your actions. You're putting the power of everything. So nothing good that happens to you is for your own reason. Everything bad is some other people's fault. And we need to take responsibility for ourselves. And even if it means you go too far the other way, and even if something does happen to you and you just force yourself, it would be much healthier for you, if faced with actual racism, to view it as, oh, that guy was just being mean, to view it as just inconsiderate, than to go the other way and see things that aren't necessarily racist and be like, that's racism. Not attributing racism to racist acts will put you in a much better place than if you're the person that attributes racism to acts that were not racist at all. Okay, so going back to the statement, at the same time, all right. Just last year, the FBI released statistics that revealed a 17% increase in the number of hate crimes in America. Part of the tragedy of this situation is that it distracts from that truth and has been seized by some who would like to dismiss and downplay the very real problems that we must address. We should not allow that. I will always condemn racism and homophobia. We must always confront hate directly, and we must always seek justice. That is what I will keep fighting for. All right. So where is she getting this 17% increase in the FBI statistics? Well, it is from hate crime reports. And yes, hate crime reports are on the rise, but the problem is no one ever takes the time to get rid of the hoaxes. And once again, just go online and type in hate crime hoaxes, and I can rattle off so many. I mean, it's so funny, but I remember in a college, there was a poop swastika. I wish I was joking. This is 100% true. I forgot what college it was. You can type in poop swastika right now. You will see it happen. Yeah, so there was a poop swastika that they drew on the college. I think it was in the dorm room. Everybody made a big deal about it. They reported a hate crime. They treated it as a hate crime. Everybody was in a tizzy. Turned out to be fake. Somebody just did it for attention. There was a Muslim girl who had her hijab ripped off, and she was saying, oh my God, racist Trump supporters took it off. That was a hoax. There are countless hoaxes. Now, what's not a hoax, and I'll get off of that to get onto this, what's not a hoax, actually, is all of the attacks that we see happening to conservatives. That, I mean, I personally don't think hate crimes should exist, but since they do, I don't understand how these are not hate crimes. Meanwhile, other attacks, anything that happens to a black or gay person, now that's a hate crime. All right, let's see this story that just happened. I apologize for the dog in the back. Let me see if I can give this a reset.
What?
Okay.
Oh,
So my apologies. I couldn't find a version of this. Oh, I should have just went to Charlie Kirk's Twitter. I couldn't find a version of this that did not have all of these beeps in it. I didn't find the uncensored version. What is this? Hey, cut it out. I'm not trying to see this. What are you doing? What are you doing, Fox News? Why are you doing this to me? You're ruining my show, Fox News. Okay. Well, this was a gentleman from Turning Point USA. So they were conservatives on... Come on, man. Am I going to have to just... Yeah, okay. So... they were conservative students at UC Berkeley in a very, very left-wing school. If you don't recall UC Berkeley is famous for burning down the school when Milo came to speak, and I believe they did the same when Ben Shapiro came to speak. And when Ann Coulter wanted to speak there, they canceled her. So just a super leftist school that does not accept anybody who was conservative. They had, I'm assuming these students set up a chair. They set up a table, just, talking, trying not to convert, trying to talk to or bring in more conservative students and just bring them out because, that's perfectly fine to do. And this is the treatment that you get when you are a conservative. When you're on the other side, when you're not a leftist, you can be beaten and nobody has a big problem with it. As a matter of fact, they cheer these attacks on. There's people that still are angry and still were. If you even questioned that Jussie Smollett was faking his attack last week before it all came out to be false, you were seen as hateful, you were seen as a bigot, you were seen as racist, you were seen as insensitive, you were seen as all type of bad things. Meanwhile, video evidence, this man was absolutely attacked. 100% this man was attacked simply for being conservative. This is the reaction that we get from employees. So this is from Fox News. UC Berkeley employee cheered assault on conservative student. Quote, "This makes me feel emotionally so much better." All right. Conservative activists are calling on the University of California, Berkeley to take action against a campus employee who praised an alleged assault on a student who was recruiting at a table. That's the word I was looking for, recruiting. Okay. I love how Fox is way more careful. When they have way more evidence, they're still saying things like allegedly. They're still trying to have some, it's just so funny, the difference in writing styles. How these people actually have the journalistic integrity to say, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna say alleged attack because, we're journalists. At least sort of. I'm not saying that Fox News is unbiased or Fox News doesn't get anything wrong, but Jesus, they're writing a lot better than the people at CNN are, aren't they? Yeah, it's funny. They didn't say that this man was some. They didn't be like, oh, this is our new Reagan. I don't know who's a conservative icon on the level of Jackie Robinson. Okay, so the university employee, UV Panda. I wish this was a joke. It is so hilarious to me. UV Panda. UV Panda. UV Panda. IB man. All right, let me get that bomb out of the way. Okay, so UV Panda cheered the alleged assault, which campus police said happened on Tuesday on Twitter on Wednesday night. He tweeted, "Oh my God, the MAGA people on UC Berkeley campus yesterday got punched in the face by someone. This makes me feel emotionally so much better." Okay, you work at UC Berkeley? This is so poorly written. Why is it in all caps? Let me see if I can get the tweet. This is bollocks. This is terrible. This account's tweets are protected. Look at this. He/him. Oh, you fucking. Yeah, you think he's a leftist? He/him. Opinions are my own. He. Oh my God, you're not authorized to see this status. Well, you thought you can delete it now, huh? You feel like you're feeling a little bit of heat coming your way, stupid? Jesus. See, these people are giddy to see people attacked on the other side, but then, oh my God, Jussie Smollett, poor Jussie Smollett was lynched. We need to stop the hate. We need to be more tolerant. Yeah, we need to be more tolerant of gay people, huh? We need to be more tolerant of sodomy, but don't you dare try to be a conservative, because then you can get punched and I will feel emotionally so much happier. Panda, again, not a joke. That's the name. The sentence is so stupid. Panda thanked... It's so silly. Panda thanked the apparent attacker, who has yet to be identified, for punching conservative activist Hayden Williams and not letting it go unchallenged. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so when gay people get attacked, we're just not letting their gayness be unchallenged. Oh, no, but that's intolerant. Hope you aren't in too much trouble, he added, before adding an expletive address to Turning Point USA, the organization which was recruiting at the time. And it continues. So Berkeley makes a long statement. Hayden wants to thank all of us for the love and support. He is winking and wanted us to know that we'll be hearing from him soon. He has a very nice shiner. That's a pretty good black guy. It's not too bad. It looks like, I will say though, yeah, you gotta be a little quicker, buddy. Keep your hands up, keep your head on a swivel. Not the best fighting style from these conservatives, I gotta say. The left really should be thanking God that the right has been tolerating so much, because it's crazy what they get away with. You do understand that the right are the gun owners, right? And I know that we live in a world where it's not okay to hit people, but I don't think this man should have been shot. But if this Hayden guy would have pulled out a baton and just fucked this man's life up, I would absolutely applaud him. In the incident captured on cell phone video, two males walk up to the table containing information about Turning Point USA and engaged in an argument with Hayden, who was sitting there. As Williams began to film the incident with his cell phone, one of the men is seen punching him several times. It was also filmed by at least one witness. The Turning Point table was also knocked over and their signs were ripped, according to accounts by people who were there. Williams, who is not a student, not even a student, is a field representative. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Boop. I'm getting all angry and that was him. Okay, yeah, so he's just, I guess he's kind of getting the inspiration from Crowder. Steven Crowder, who does Change My Minds and college campuses, and he just sets up shop and he'll put up a sign that says, I think beer is better than water, change my mind. Or yeah, that's not what he says, but he always just puts out something like, oh, I think abortion is bad, change my mind, whatever. Just conservative stuff, just trying to make a conversation, and they're just, doing a very legitimate sitting down. Just doing a very legitimate sitting down and try to recruit conservatives and trying to have civil discussions, and how do they get met with blows. And somehow I haven't seen Kamala Harris come out against this, huh? I haven't seen any of them. I haven't seen any of CNN people being like, this needs to stop. We need to, this does a disservice to all of us. Williams, who is not a student, is a field representative of the Leadership Institute, and in that role, he helps train and organize conservative students on college campuses across the country. He had been invited by Turning Point USA, which is in the midst of establishing a chapter at Berkeley, to man the table at the plaza on campus. In an interview with Fox News, he said the two men approached him. Took issue with the sign at the table that said, "Hate crime hoaxes hurt real victims." Hilarious. Hysterical. So yeah, so they literally that's what happens. Literally just saying like, oh my God, saying something that, by the way, everyone agrees with. Even the people on that side are agreeing like, yeah, if this is fake, this is bad for everyone's cause. You can't even say that if you're a conservative. Nope, you just gotta bow. You got to bow to leftism. Williams, 26, told Fox News on Friday that he's been attacked before while helping recruit on college campuses, including 2 weeks ago at UCLA, but never to the degree he was on Tuesday. Keep your head on a swivel, champ. We get all sorts of flack at Berkeley, he said. I'm an easy target for these people. I'm a small guy. Williams said Tuesday's attack was discomforting. It does make me fear for my safety. And here is them. We support our president. He lamented the glee many are expressing on social media over the violence on Tuesday. The person who assaulted me is being hailed as a hero by the campus community. Many people are told not to snitch on him. That's how hostile campuses are to conservatives. People think it's totally justified to violently attack conservatives because they disagree with their views. Excuse me. Panda, never not funny, works at Berkeley's data science education program as a DevOps architect, according to the university's website. Campus Reform, a new news website that is operated by the Leadership Institute, said that UC Berkeley spokesman Dan Mogilov confirmed Panda's employment at the school. This person does not speak for the university, does not represent the university, and does not share the university's values. Fucking seems like they do. It seems like every single person at that university is happy as a clam that this man was attacked. It seems like anytime a conservative comes, they burn the fucking place down. They attack people. It seems like, yeah, that's exactly the values that you hold at UC Berkeley. And that value is conservatives are the devil. Conservatives are racist. They spell conservatives with 3 Ks. That's the world that they live in. The university has made clear through word and deed that violence and harassment are reprehensible and intolerable no matter who the perpetrator and victims are or what they believe in. That is bullshit. Total lie. Stop lying, you lying liars. You know for a fact that your campus is full of leftists and that all you do, if that really is your message, you're doing a very poor job of delivering it. And I, quite frankly, don't know, 1, who would send their child to UC Berkeley, and 2, how they're still being funded by anyone. Do they get any government money? I'll check it out, but I'm at an hour already, and I'm actually over time, and I had so much more planned for today. It's just gonna have to wait for later. Senator Rand Paul, shout out. Shout out to Senator Rand Paul, best fucking senator we ever had. This is abhorrent behavior against free speech on campus. No form of violence is acceptable. Conservatives, activists assaulted at UC Berkeley campus. Okay. All right. So, I guess I'm gonna wrap it up there. We can. That's as good a place as any to stop it. I had a lot more stories to go to, but I just want to say that this world. Just understand that if you're on the left, I'm not going to say you're on the wrong side. I guess you have your own legitimate cases of whatever. But I need you to know that your side is absolutely... The world isn't this racist place that you see it as. America is not America with 3 Ks. And if you really take a look at the world around you, and you really want to be honest with yourself, you're going to see a lot more hate coming from your side than you would like to admit. And I really just want true consistency in the way people treat violence, and I want people to understand that if this doesn't change soon, and if we continue to see the world so disparagingly, so separately, if we're looking at the same picture and viewing 2 completely different images, if we don't start meeting in the middle, and when I say that, I'm just saying leftists need to come more to the center. If that doesn't begin to happen, I only see 2 paths: either a real civil war in America, or we end up in a case where Texas secedes and it's just going to become a split America. I don't see how we continue moving forward as a union in this way. And I would really hope that we could. But if we can't, then I would hope we go the route of secession. But somehow I don't feel that the left would allow the right to do that. I believe the left is way more prone to attacking the right than the right is the left. And I believe if we really want to look at hate crimes, by the way, I don't think they should exist. But if we're looking at crimes fueled by hate, I think a lot more of them are coming from the left and the right. And I would suggest to anyone, first and foremost, unplug from the phone for a second. Don't just keep looking at stories of black person attacked. Just get out of your echo chamber for a second. Put the phone down. Go outside into the city if you live in the city. Go talk to a conservative. Go try to make conversation with a conservative. Go to their events. Just go to a conservative event and don't try to disturb it. Don't try to shut the thing down. Just go there. Just talk to people. See how they treat you. And then see if that might change your mind. I would assume they're going to be way more tolerant of you. Actually, I bet you anything, they would treat you so well for the simple fact that you show up. Just for you making that effort of showing up and trying to have that conversation, I bet you anything that they will go out of their way to make you comfortable, to have conversation with you, and to try to reason with you as best they can. And so long as you're not the type of person, so long as you're not Alyssa Milano and you're not saying that, oh, the Klan hat or the MAGA hats are the new Klan hoods, so long as you're not a crazy person, I think you can really be a bridge between the left and the right. Because at this point, the way I see it, the left has to come more to the right, or has to at least be less. They have to be, you can't be openly hostile to somebody if you want things to have come better in between them. And I don't think the hostility is coming from the right. With that being said, fuck gun control. Don't let these people pass any more laws. Remember that, as always, the government always sucks. The government never does a good job. They always fail at what they do. And any power that you give them now will eventually be turned against you. I'm sorry that this one was a very serious episode, very loud. I didn't mean to spend all my time talking about Jussie Smollett, but it kind of happened, and hate crimes. I am Jason Gutierrez, and I will see you guys all next week. Follow me at Based Sammy Sosa on Twitter. Just like and subscribe the show. I appreciate all the views that I got last week. That was a great thing. Next week I will be on another show. I think I'll be able to put one more episode out later. Actually, to anybody who's watching this on YouTube, you can also follow this show if you want to catch it on just an audio platform. You can see this on podbean.com/inconsistency. You will see me right there. I am putting the audio ones out. So far, I've only got one episode on there. I got last week's episode. I just put that up. I'm going to put this one up right concurrently with the YouTube release. And I hope you guys like that. Please view it over there and share that. Once again, I am Jason Gutierrez. Follow me at Base Sammy Sosa. I love you all. I hope we can come together. You guys have a great night.